And hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Build It to Billions podcast, where we believe, as you build wealth and your ability to scale it, you give an opportunity to give it all away, or give a big portion away to make an impact for the most vulnerable in this world. And each and every episode, we're bringing on some of the best in finance and wealth and business. To share with us their secrets of building amazing opportunities for investing in wealth or building wealth, and also their heart for making a difference in this world and making an impact. My name is Brett Swarts, and each and every episode, I'm joined by some of the best, again, real estate, financial, wealth, and business minds in the world, where they're going to share some of their ideas, deal secrets, and inspiration. So together we can make building wealth even more scalable, as well as being able to make a bigger impact. I'm excited about our next guest. He's originally from Portland, Oregon, and he is the founder of Treasure Investments, and also foundrymichelangelo.com. He has a passion for the finest of art in the world. And he has, with his team, collectively built what might be the greatest fine art masterpieces ever unveiled in a new way and in an amazing way. And this is what we're talking about today. Please welcome to the show with me, Mark Russo. Mark, how are we doing?
Doing great. A pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. For our listeners getting to know you for the first time, Mark, would you give us a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Well, I've been in the art business for 38 years. When I was very young, I had a chance to go to an art show in New Orleans, Jim Blanchard Investment Conference, and had a chance to represent an artist selling some of his pure silver sculptures. This is in the 80s, if you can believe that. And I was offered a commission of 20%, and I went down there enthusiastically with my girlfriend at the time. And he promised me a 20% commission. And I went down there. I knew the product because I'm excited about being in the art world at the time. I was young and kind of had a passion for it. And in just 2 days, I sold $900,000 worth of the artist artwork, and there were silver bull and bears and silver eagles and silver, just all different pieces, African pieces. And I came home with $180,000 in commissions and thought, hey, I can do this. And that's really kind of what it kicked it off. And yeah, it grew from there, but that was the inspiration for that. But I've been in this space for over 38 years. I love it. I've built many businesses in the art world, many very successful and some that weren't. But you learn by those endeavors, and you pick up and you move on. And we've come to a point now where we've built what we believe one of the most incredible fine art businesses, taking all the best parts over the last 4 decades of what was successful into a very hyper efficient business model. And we're bringing a rebirth of the Renaissance to life today. And that's what we're so excited about sharing with everybody.
Absolutely. And by the way, you can learn more about Mark Russo by going to foundrymichelangelo.com. That's foundrymichelangelo.com. And we're going to dive in actually, before we go there, Mark, I believe we've all been given certain gifts in this life, and these gifts have been given to us to be a blessing and help to others, right? And we're here to be great stewards with what's been given to us, right? Either our time, our talents, our treasure, our time, right? I'm curious, what do you feel like that gift, like as a young kid, maybe going back, right, in the day, what do you feel like, Mark, what was like your strength or your superpower? What's the one thing that you feel that, perhaps, was your number one strength, and how does that help how you help and bless people today, Mark?
Well, a great question. I have a passion for the arts, and I believe I communicate very well the message of what artwork means to people. People look at artwork and they enjoy it because it makes them feel good. And we were at a show just a couple of months ago in Scottsdale, and a client walked up. He was actually in a wheelchair. He rolled up and looked at this beautiful Ferrari stallion that we had and said, I love it. I want to buy it. And his wife came up to him and said, are you crazy? And he goes, honey, it makes me feel good. But at the end of the day, I've been involved in the arts. I love it. I'm very passionate about it. And if somebody's standing in front of a piece and I give them a history about the artist and what the intent of the art object was, it's inspirational. It's a powerful thing. Art is what drives humanity, truthfully. It's the greatest form of communication known to mankind, and I love to share that, whether it's a piece from the Vatican or a piece from the Uffizi, or if it's a wildlife sculpture of a grizzly bear, or it's a bull and bear symbol from Wall Street, or whatever the subject matter is. I believe that I was given the ability of high-level communication and people understanding the arts, and I follow that passion. I've done other things. I've been involved in real estate projects, and I still do that for fun, but my passion is the art world. And I think we've taken it to a level that since 1504, 520 years ago, since Michelangelo finished the David, by doing a new level of communication and inspiration. And it's a hope for the future. It's to inspire people and to give people a hope for their friends, their family in the future. And that's what we love about what we're doing. And that's what I think one of my gifts is it's just sharing that and giving people that inspiration.
Absolutely love it. And by the way, it really feels like this, Mark. Passionate about giving and bringing life from the inside of folks when they can see and understand the art, right? And so it's connecting the art with life in the middle, right? And bringing those things together from people who, like you said, the person in the wheelchair, right? Who need to, perhaps to give her a little more hope. It gave her a little more hope, right? There's something that we're drawn to from amazing masterpieces. The greatest fine art masterpieces unveiled is what you've built, right? And so, and then just the passion for communication, right, and the ability to connect with people. Is that a fair summary?
That's a great summary. It is. People look at an art object, and it's the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But when you have something that's so spectacular, we've had people walk up to some of our work and literally just sat there in tears and are like, "Are you okay?" And it's like they couldn't talk; they were emotionally taken back by the beauty of the object and what that meaning was. And it's positive. It's not a negative side. If you play hard rock music to a plant, it dies. If you play the symphony, it grows faster. We like to believe that our artwork is truly inspirational and of positive energy. It radiates energy, and it's staying on the positive side of life. And that's what we do. We like to create artwork that we believe is inspirational, powerful, delivers a phenomenal message, and makes people feel good. They can escape into it. And that's truly the beauty of what we're doing. And that's what we're so excited about.
Absolutely. So let's dive right into that, right? The greatest fine art masterpieces unveiled. And by the way, if you want to see some of these amazing pieces right now, you can go to foundrymichelangelo.com. That's foundrymichelangelo.com. We're talking with Mark Russo. He's based out of Washington State now. And so, Mark, take us to the beginning, right? So you have this vision, you have this passion, and you're going, wow, what if we could do X? Take us, what if we could accomplish and assemble and build and design and all the things that you guys do? Take us to that beginning of what that initial vision was, and then let's start to walk through and unveil how this has been built over the years.
Okay, well, listen, this thing was starting when I was excited about an event, and it's 4 decades kind of going back in history. And as I went to those shows, I got excited about it. I saw when you go to a conference, you get instant feedback. It's field research instantaneous. I call it instant gratification. You go to a trade show, you know what people like or what they don't like. And being involved in those conferences, I identified what people really liked, what product, what subject matter, whether it was a Western piece or a patriotic eagle and flag. And as we've grown over the years, Treasure has amassed the single largest master mold collection in the world, over 2,600 original molds. And the mold, for those that don't understand, is the negative of a positive. It allows us to create an image in ultimate mediums of silver, gold, bronze, resin, stainless steel. But that mold wields the ability of recreating an original over and over again in limited editions, or in some cases, just one of a kind. And as we've grown this business model to 2,600 different images by 230 artists, it's given our company a phenomenal platform to reach an audience. We now have 97 gallery partners throughout the United States. We have 6 galleries in Vegas. We have them in Aspen, Colorado, Breckenridge, Beaver Creek. We have them in Sedona, Scottsdale, Miami, Key West, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Lake Tahoe, all the great resort towns. We have partners with the best art galleries in the world, really. And now we're on 107 cruise ships selling our product in 52 countries. So we've become a phenomenal distributor. I think the largest bronze distributors in the world. But it's because of the artwork that we've selected. It spreads different subject matters and themes. It's biblical, it's historical, wildlife, cultural, fantasy artwork, from fantasy nudes to mermaids to golfers to the biggest statues in the world. But it's a collection of work that's inspirational, it's positive, and not just different subject matters, but again, in multiple different mediums. And, I had a company back in the day where I was just going to conferences, very successful. You go to a trade show, you make sales, you come home, you deliver the products. I built another company, and Michael may have mentioned it in his podcast, where in the 90s, I was invited to go to an auction. I sold a sculpture to a doctor. and watched the audience bid on this piece, which was incredible. And I saw an opportunity because the artwork was beautiful as a given. It was two eagles fighting over a salmon, and it sold for an astounding amount of money. And in that moment, I realized that there was an opportunity to possible opportunity to provide sculptures to nonprofit galas. I didn't know how big the space was or even how many fundraisers there were. I discovered afterwards, just thereafter, that there was every week in America right now, there's over 20,000 live gala fundraisers in America. That's per weekend. I think we're at up about 1 million a year. And we were the only ones then ever placing statues into those nonprofits on a win-win 50-50 split with no expense to the charity. That's created tens of millions for nonprofits, raised money for causes that needed the resources, and created a great opportunity for people to have gainful employment and just build a phenomenal.
Absolutely, Mark. Let me just pick up on a couple things here because I think this is so important. I mean, and this is the question I have for the audience and for you, Mark. And so, has there ever been another investment that is so deep, is so rich with meaning, history, also hope and inspiration, and the history of the world? I mean, what you guys have amassed, and we're going to start sharing some of these things here. Like, in fact, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, you can find it at Capital Gains Tax Solutions YouTube channel, Expert CRE Secrets, also Build It to Billions YouTube channel. But over Mark's shoulders on his left and right are some of the most amazing pieces. So, but before we unveil what those are, and if you can see them, maybe you know, but just take a peek there. But before we unveil those, Mark, answer that question. Has there ever been an investment or opportunity that people have put together? Like, just how amazing of what you've built here, and talk about how you built it too. Like, take us to the moment where, the flight over to Europe, negotiating, signing the contracts to get the exclusive rights. Walk us through that process before we start to unveil some of these pieces.
Okay, well, there's two parts. Treasure has a commercial division which spans 2,600 different images from 230 artists. That's more commercial. It's Frederick Remington's, Charlie Russell's, other works. Then you have the Renaissance side, which is our museum, the Museum Michelangelo, a wholly owned subsidiary of Treasure. That's the next kind of evolution in a quantum leap forward for the company. We are successful commercially. The profit margins are phenomenal. Our cost basis is just amazing, and it is powerful. It's a great opportunity for people to become a part of what we're doing because of just what we're doing and the margins. I asked Michael a few years back to go to Florence, Italy, to meet with a gentleman named Ferdinando Marinelli, who owns the most famous sculpture foundry in the world. And just a little history on Marinelli. Marinelli's grandfather, Ferdinando Marinelli Sr., started Marinelli in 1909, actually. Started a foundry, but it was in the 20s that he got special permission from the Pope, but not just the Pope. Marinelli Foundry got permission to go into not just the Vatican, they got permission to go in the Archaeological Museum in Naples, Italy, the Uffizi, the Louvre, the Villa Borghese, Accademia in Florence, and a few other the most important museums in the world. And when they were given permission to go in the museums, they were the restoration department for the archaeological department of Europe for preservation and protecting of the treasures, the national treasures of those countries. And what it means is when they went into those museums, they put plaster directly on top of the marble masterpieces themselves, getting a master mold from those original marbles. It is the most priceless master mold collection that exists in the world. And it's every iconic artwork you could even comprehend, from the winged angel of victory, the Nike of Samothrace, the Venus of Milo, to the David statue. And again, it's not just the Vatican, it's all those. We successfully negotiated a contract. We have exclusive rights to 72 of the most important museum collection pieces in the world from those museums, to create those as originals in precious metals, which is pure silver, pure gold, and platinum, should we choose to do them in platinum. That was the quantum moment for us. And I actually owned a company in Naples, Italy in 2004. I bought a different foundry in Naples called Curazzi, and they had also some access, not quite like the ones that the Marinelli did, because they got direct access to the Vatican, and we have molds from 28 of Michelangelo's most important artworks. So it took us to a whole new level. Again, it's a quantum leap forward because it positions our company and our shareholders to make literally billions of dollars action taken and moving forward in a proper manner. It's very exciting. It's unbelievable. It's almost unbelievable.
By the way, again, foundrymichelangelo.com. Go there right now and start to see everything that Mark is talking about here. In fact, we're going to start talking about them right now. In particular, let's talk about the two pieces that if you're watching this YouTube video, you can see over Mark's right and left shoulders. And let me also encapsulate a little bit what you said so everyone caught that, right? So these master molds are from the actual art pieces, okay? And what Mark is saying is the foundry is, let's say pure silver, pure gold, pure bronze, pure platinum, an exact replica of these pieces that are just the greatest fine art masterpieces in the world, the history of the world. And they have exclusive rights to 72 of the most important pieces in the history of the world. And they're able to put it in pure gold, pure silver, pure bronze, pure platinum. Is that a fair summary, Mark?
Yeah, they are considered originals, not even the word replica. They are true from the hand of the artist. So when we get one, we can only do one in pure silver. The Pietà behind me is the single largest pure silver sculpture in the history of the world. It's over 20,000 ounces. It is the Pietà, the only sculpture Michelangelo ever signed. It's an original. It is purely one of a kind original. And it's exciting. It's phenomenal. The piece over my other shoulder is the head of the David, the actual David. And it's part because we're doing the entire David 17 feet tall. We estimate between 70 and 80,000 ounces that will eclipse the silver Pietà as the largest statue in pure silver in the world. So we're very excited about that.
Let's bring that to life. What is $70,000-$80,000? Just forget about the art for a second, right? Let's separate that. What does 70 to 80,000 ounces of silver cost today just by itself?
It's about $2.5 million just in the raw bullion. So it's pretty exciting. We're excited about that. We have 3 more pieces coming from Italy now. One's called the Madonna of the Stairs by Michelangelo. It was his first ever sculpture, and 2 others that are some very famous pieces. There's also a sculpture we're doing called the Bruges Madonna. It was in the movie called The Monuments Men with George Clooney and Matt Damon. It's a piece that was stolen by the Nazis from a museum in the Netherlands, and it's a spectacular piece by Michelangelo. We're doing that in pure silver. We're also doing the Bruges Madonna in 12,000 ounces of 24 karat gold. So what's amazing is it really is. We're doing the greatest artwork in the world by the greatest artists in precious metals as original one-of-a-kinds. And it takes our company to a whole new level. We've got some amazing interest from foreign governments, and it's just fascinating where we're headed. And this is going to be a great year for those that we're partnered with.
Absolutely. So let's dive into that more. By the way, foundrymichelangelo.com to literally see videos and pictures of all of what Mark is talking about here. So and to potentially set up tours of the museum to view these things. Okay, Mark and I, we met at the Family Office Club, I think in Fort Lauderdale about a year ago, and then we saw each other again in Beverly Hills. And if I've had the opportunity and the honor to see some of these pieces live in person and meet Mark and see his genuine passion and focus on serving and bringing the greatest fine art masterpieces in the world. And so, but I wanted to focus on the David for a second, right? Because this is really cool. You guys got the head of the David. It's pure silver right there, right behind your shoulder, and it's going to be the full life replica of it. Just given us some size and scope, but potentially, people were to invest, just give it an idea of something like the David, what that one piece would sell for in pure silver. Can you kind of just give some rough numbers on that, Mark?
When the David's finished, it will be considered an original, a posthumous original, one of a kind in pure silver, largest silver statue in the world. We believe it will eclipse the sale of the Salvator Mundi by Da Vinci that sold for, I think, $450 million. We think it has the opportunity or potential to eclipse that as the highest, most valuable art piece ever created. We really believe that's going to occur. For those, we're putting together, it's called the MFAC, Michelangelo Fine Art Collection. The collection will span over 2,000 original works, all in an official catalog raisonné, which is the highest level of authentication. And again, these are not replicas. They are true originals. And so the collection itself will span over 2,000 original works, precious metals, pure silver, pure gold. There'll be paintings. There'll be master drawings by a collection of artists to include Michelangelo, Bernini, Giambologna, Delatano. It's the rebirth of the Renaissance in precious metals as an alternative asset class. And what's so amazing, what differentiates this from other art funds, and there are some out there, and they perform unbelievably well. And let me just say that the blue chip art market has outperformed every other major index in the last 4 decades by leaps and bounds. It's not even close. But what separates the museum's collection, Michelangelo's fine art collection, from those is that the collection will span over 2,000 works. The pieces will be the most significant art, but the most iconic artworks in the history of the world, combined with precious metals, which has never been done before. But here's the most important part of it, is the fund itself, we'll call it a fund, actually owns the molds. And by owning the molds, it gives that collection of artwork, or the fund, if you will, the potential exponential growth, not just arithmetic growth of 15 or 20%, which we think the collection of the artwork, just the appreciation of the value artwork, we believe will be double digits a year. Just the appreciation of the collection, if it was just static, just sitting there, curating it. But the difference is that the fund owns the master molds, and those master molds wield the ability of creating additional originals that give the collection exponential annual growth potential. That is so powerful, and nothing like this has ever been presented to a buying audience that exists in the world today.
Absolutely. Again, Mark Russo, foundrymichelangelo.com. I am more than thrilled to be connecting with them, forming hopefully a really strong strategic alliance. I'm already making introductions for my clients to Mark and his team because I believe in what they're doing. I believe in amazing fine art and what it can do for inspiring people to greatness, inspiring people to make a difference and an impact, and to use their God-given gifts to the best of their ability. And this is what Mark's doing with his ability to connect these two things. And I'm grateful for it. Mark, talk about just scaling something like this, right? A little bit, right? So let's shift a little bit, right? So the amazing product, but talk about just, the business side and the vision for, you could, 3, 4, 5, 10 billion, who knows how high this thing goes, right, in the next coming years, but just the I guess the responsibility, B, the stewardship of this type of artwork and continuing on to the legacy of passing this on to the next generation. What are some thoughts and some ideas when it comes to that, Mark?
Well, having the right team around you is important. We have created what's called the Global Art Authority, GAA.art. It's the highest level of authentication for posthumous castings from Europe. On my board is Ferdinando Marinelli Jr., the owner of the Marinelli Foundry, and Dr. Alessandro Cecchi, former director of the Uffizi of 34 years and currently the director and curator of the Museum of Michelangelo Casa Buonarroti, and myself. We serve on the board of the Global Art Authority, which authenticates these pieces. And I think moving forward, to have a team of the greatest art experts in the world with respect to these specific pieces gives the valuation of the collection a much more significant position. But again, it's building the right team around you. When we order a piece and they're sending red waxes, those waxes were poured directly into those molds in Siena, Italy, at the Foundry Marinelli. Because they don't have the ability of casting precious metals in Europe, it kind of gave us an advantage in our negotiations because there's only a few people in the world that can actually cast a piece or pieces that we're doing. In fact, people believed that we couldn't do the Pietà. It was too much volume of silver. It was too intricate of a casting, and it couldn't be. I heard 1,000 times it can't be done. I was like, are you kidding me? We're going to do it. So we were told it couldn't be done. You'll never get it done, let alone get the authentication and the access to those molds, which we did. So we overcame a lot of non-believers and did something that's extraordinary. But moving forward, you have to have all of your provenance. You have to have the right team in place. You have to have your foundry production capacity and the right people working with your sculptures that know how to do it. So there's a lot of you have to be vertically integrated at every level, which we really are. From the very inception of a concept to final distribution and sale point, we are in control of every bit of it. And I think if you're not in control of it, you're going to have a tougher time, especially in this space. But from inception, idea, concept, to production, to trade shows, conferences, client customer bases, our gallery networks, positioning with the best partners in the world, with having the best foundry skill set and artisans that work in the world with us is really what makes it all, again, complete vertical integration at every level and having the ability of executing at warp speed. We do more in a week at our company than most companies can accomplish in a year. We've grown in just a few years to 97 distributorships and being in 52 countries on 170 cruise ships with one of the largest art dealers in the world, Park West. That partnership is phenomenal. So again, it's being hyper efficient, executing at light speed, making the right decisions, and surrounding yourself with people that are the best in the world in the space is what gives us a phenomenal competitive advantage when we bring our alternative asset class to market in about 60 days.
Oh my gosh, Mark! I got that. That's about maybe at least one, maybe two books there. But let me just kind of pull some of that out for our listeners, right? So, what is it that helps you to scale, help you to build, right? So, I think number one or a beginning is building the right team, right? Building the right team. So you talked about the advisory board, having Mr. Milanelli Jr. on the board, right? Alexander Checki, I believe. And then you also said the second part is the belief to do what others deem is impossible, right? The belief and the faith to do what others are deemed to be impossible. And the next thing starts to get down to production and then being vertically integrated and making sure you have that all dialed in to be able to deliver on the vision. The next thing is positioning with the best strategic alliances in the world, but not just positioning, but also to establish those connections and those relationships, right, in a very, very efficient way, which leads to the next thing, which is high efficiency and like extreme execution. So, Mark, anything else to add there? Did we capture it pretty well?
Oh, you really did. And people say, as we've raised money to grow the company, our most precious commodity is our time. We don't really need to raise money. And you could arithmetically grow your company. We take all of our profit, we put it back into artwork. But when we give up a little bit of the company and an investor puts in some cash, it accelerates our speed. Those investors that helped us grow the company to where we are today, we wouldn't be near or close to where we are without that cash. It's an accelerant. It takes us, it's warp overdrive, that cash. And we can take $1 and turn it into $100. Really, if people knew the margins that we had in the space, there'd be more people in my business. But for every $1 million of capital investment, we can turn it into about $100 million worth of sellable product. That's a massive leverage. But for us, the investor base has helped us, and we've got 290 shareholders that have helped us take this company to new heights and move its speed properly. You can move too fast, and I've built businesses where I got accounts. I had an account with Costco, and the first order was 360 little eagles and flags. The next order was for 56,000 eagles and flags. And sadly, I wasn't prepared for that growth. This is a long time ago. But we're moving at the pace that we know we can absorb. I've often moved success. I had success so fast that it hurt me. So I learned from those mistakes. As history proves, now we've got something that's extraordinary. We are moving very, very quickly. But again, vertical integration, surrounding yourself with all the right people, especially in the finishing our product. Our foundry employees are phenomenal artisans, and that you can't go to school to learn that. You have to apprentice in the trade of metallurgy and sculpting the ancient lost wax casting processes. And we've got some of the most incredible people in the world that are doing pure silver castings where you can't get it done. If you want to build a silver pieta, good luck. You have to call me or Pope Francis, and that's not going to be an easy hill to climb. But we're just excited because we do have an incredible team at Treasure Investments. My staff were dedicated. They show up early, they leave late, they work on weekends because they love what they do and they're passionate about, and they see the vision and they see the future of the company and where we're going.
Absolutely. And by the way, Mark Russo here, foundrymichelangelo.com. That's foundrymichelangelo.com. We're talking about the greatest fine art masterpieces unveiled and here for you to be able to invest into. I believe credit investors, they have an amazing, amazing business model. Like he said, 1 million to turn into 100 million. Where are you going to find that, right? Where are you going to find that? I'm typically a real estate traditional investor, multifamily properties, mobile home parks, senior housing, industrial properties. I am stepping out of my my traditional way of investing, and I'm looking at art, and it's incredible to be able to trust and to put that investment with a Mark Russo with Treasure Investments. Mark, I want to shift a little bit back to the stewardship part of it, right? And so looking forward and fast forward, right? Part of the goal of the podcast is to say, hey, how do you bless people, right? How do you be a good steward with the wealth and help the most vulnerable in this world? Whatever that means to you, right? So what does that look like long-term for Treasure Investments, for Mark, making a difference and making an impact with, growing the business to huge heights, but also perhaps be able to give a big portion of it away?
Well, we do. We have Foundation Michelangelo, which is our philanthropic division. Excuse me. We've donated since the model was created. We stopped counting at $50 million to nonprofits, at probably more north of $100 million. But every weekend we participate in fundraising events where 50% of the gross revenue from sales of our pieces at fundraisers goes to charities. We have helped literally tens of thousands of nonprofits, from American Cancer, MDA, Make-A-Wish, Boys and Girls Clubs of America, Philharmonic. I mean, the causes that we've helped and the letters we've gotten in thanks, from buying kidney machines to sending kids to Make-A-Wish Foundation to Disneyland. It's a phenomenal platform that's helped raise a lot of money for people that needed that resource. And beyond that, as this company grows and we continue to have success, we are going to be setting a lot of this money aside to help causes that we believe in, that we know are going to be going to great events and places that really need those resources.
Absolutely love it, Michael. Mark, I'm sorry. Michael is one of his top leaders there. We're talking with Mark Russo. By the way, I love Michael and your heart, right? Your heart for caring deeply about people, caring deeply about art, and caring deeply about making a difference. It shines through you guys, and I appreciate that. All that being said, are you ready for the lightning round?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. Knowing what you know now, Mark, if you could go back to your 25-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget you make sure to tell yourself to do?
Well, you know what? The biggest risk in business for me isn't taking one. 25, boy, I wasn't what I am today. I've learned, made a lot of mistakes, but listen, just listen to the higher levels of authority. Pay attention to your mistakes. Learn from your past. Don't make the second mistake twice. Just do inspirational things and hold your head high. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes, probably more than most people. I failed more than probably anybody, but I've made mistakes and learned from my failures. But just making a quick adjustment and taking the right path, doing the right thing, using your conscience and doing good by other people.
Fantastic. That's your number two. What's the number one book you've recommended or gifted the most in the past year?
Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins. I've read that book several times. It's an inspirational book. I also did his, the success journals. I really love him. I've met him, talked to him several times, and just a great inspiration. I love that book. I would recommend that read to anybody.
Fantastic. Question number three. What are you most curious about right now?
The state of the world, sadly, I not to look at a negative point, but I'm curious about to where our country's going, because I'm a proud American. I love America. I love patriotism. I believe in our country, our Constitution. One of our favorite pieces is called The American Patriot, which is Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution. I ponder that every day, and I like to stay focused and stay positive. I'm a high energy person. I'm always the glass is half full kind of a person, but I like to stay positive energy. But the state of affairs in the world today has got my attention. But I believe in America as a great country, and I believe that the people in this country have a great hope I stay focused on that.
Absolutely love it, Mark. I want to thank you for being on the show, for sharing your heart with us, your passion for the greatest fine art masterpieces in the world, and bringing to life in a whole new way with original pieces. Unveiled, absolutely amazing. I can't wait to see what the future holds for Treasure Investments, our opportunity to work with you guys as well and invest with you guys. I'm so excited and thank you, by the way. And I want to encourage you to keep pushing, right? Don't stop. Keep pushing the passion for art, the education, and bringing to life for people with the pieces that you are creating with Treasure Investments. But for our listeners who want to get in touch with you one last time, what's the best place for them to find you?
FoundryMichaelangelo.com for anybody who's interested in becoming a shareholder. Contact Michael Shepard, who's our partner and head of investor relations. He's at 615-400-1099. That's his personal cell phone. And again, it's excited. Brett, so honored to be on your show and to be a part of what we're doing here. But thank you so much for everything. And we're just excited about our future and where we're going.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mark, for being on the show. I also want to thank all of our listeners who are listening to an episode of the Build It to Billions podcast. We're also streaming on Expert CRE Secrets and Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast as well. We believe that if you have an opportunity to build it to billions so that you can make a huge different impact in the world is one of the most rewarding things you could ever do. And so we want to learn from those who are building it to billions, who have built it to billions already. And so we're going to bring in the best guests every single time. We're going to learn alongside with you, and we're going to try to do the same, make a huge impact for the most vulnerable people in this world. So I appreciate everyone listening today. Please go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com too if you want to build a capital gains tax exit plan. This has to do with selling highly appreciated assets. It could be stock, real estate. It could be masterpieces of art. We have an amazing product there as well for you to check out. Go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. With that being said, appreciate everyone listening.